That's hard. That's hard to do that. And she was in a completely different vocal quality there. So this is what we would call mapping out our song. I should not go in with expectations. Kia ora and welcome. My name is Stevie and I'm your vocal coach for today because we have the pleasure of taking a look at Maphra with Unethical. There's a Fozia cover. I've never heard Maphra sing. I'm very excited to see what she's up to because honestly, this has been one of the most requested videos. And one of my fantastic singing students, Janine, was like, Zoe, you really need to look at this. So this is for you, Janine. We're going to be seeing what is she up to with her vocal technique, how is she creating these sounds, and how can you create them. So if you want to learn more about how to sing like your favorite artists, like I'm going to do my best. But you should just follow and then we can like hang out together some more. So see what Maphra's up to. Never heard her sing, but I've got no idea. I was quite nervous when I go into these things blind. Like I never have heard this artist before.
Vertigo in your arms. 1 second you hate me, then it's false alarm. That's just what you always do every time. Watch me when I break and say it's paradise. Set my body aflame. Lock me up and close the door when it rains. Maybe it's my...
Okay. When I hear this sorts of stuff, it's like you can really hear the post-production going on in the sound. So post-production just makes, you can already hear that there's like some sort of limiter going on. It sounds like there's a little bit of crackle coming in. Look, I don't know Maphra's voice, so I'm just gonna go with it. We're gonna take it as a live performance. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum. So we've got a thicker vocal fold there with lots of thyroid tilt, and the lowered larynx is also making that sound dark. Let's just go back on that.
Vertigo in your arms. 1 second you hate me, then it's false alarm. That's just what you always do every time. Watch me when I break and say it's paradise. Set my body aflame. Lock me up and close the door when it rains.
So the other thing as well, and I get a lot of singers trying to create these sounds, is that you go lock the door, and you can create quite a lot of that crackle or that sort of like constricted sort of sound in there, but you can really hear that there is some either... Look, I am not an audio engineer, but there is something going on in the back end that is making the sound. It sounds like it's peaking. So it sounds like the sound it's been like really, really dialed up in terms of the volume, because looking at her body and her mouth shape and everything that's going on, that is telling me as a vocal coach of many, many moons of experience that she's singing quite quietly. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-dum. Yeah. Apart from the out-of-tune notes, very, very, very quiet, close to the microphone, with a little bit of breath coming through the sound.
Lock me up and close the door when it rains. Maybe it's my fault I put you up so high. Darling, I think you can make the devil cry. And I've been waiting for the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close, cut my heart right out of my body, tearing off my skin.
And we can see there the energy is starting to come as well. I'm just listening to this. I'm like, this sounds so similar to Fozia, isn't it? Just it's a beautiful vocal. I need to get out of my brain because I'm like, it sounds really similar to Fozia, and then my brain can't get over that. So shit, there's so much going on in this. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna do my best. Let's watch that again.
1 second you hate me, then it's false alarm. That's just what you always do every time. Watch me when I break and say it's paradise. Set my body aflame. Lock me up and close the door when it rains. Maybe it's my fault I put you up so high. Darling, I think you can make the devil cry.
make the devil cry. It's quite low in the female chest voice register, and one of the biggest problems that I see with students is that they try and sing too loud when they're going lower. So, but Maphra, I mean, obviously she's a professional singer. She's doing, with great training, she's going into a breathier sound, calling na na na, may the devil cry. So she's taking the larynx down low with her and introducing a little bit of breath by opening those vocal folds when she's going lower. And that is really the key for going lower in the range. Otherwise, you just end up going like, ba da 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 da, make the devil cry. And it starts to sound sort of like you're from New Zealand. Ha!
Darling, I think you can make the devil cry. And I've been waiting for the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry.
And that section is she's and I've been waiting on a sunset. That's that sob, lower larynx, lots of thyroid tilt. So the thyroid is the cartilage here. It's where your Adam's apple is part of the thyroid cartilage. And that is where the vocal folds live. So we got lots of tilt, which makes it sound more sung, and then we've got the vocal folds open. So, waiting on the sunset, darling, I'm sorry. And that keeping in that forward thyroid tilt with keeping that breath there, and the lower register going up into those higher notes is what has made it sound like it's kind of seamless. But it's because she's changing into a falsetto as she's going higher, and that just she's kind of. It's not cheating over, it's just you don't have like this big switch.
Make the devil cry. And I've been waiting for the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you?
And the Fausia does this as well. So go using some of those constrictor muscles in order to kind of bring the vocal folds closer together, but they're still opening. I've been waiting on a sunset. So you're adding like a little bit of weight to the sound by using those constrictors, and then the constrictors are gone. She's going out, sorry, I'm an daddy. And so that's why there's no big change between that lower chest voice register, because I don't necessarily think that she's not in a closed, thicker vocal fold down in that lower part of the range. The vocal folds are definitely open. They might even be a little bit stiff, a bit in falsetto, because that's assisting her then to go up higher.
You don't even care, how can you stand and watch while
and they go, watch while I, and then that she's brought the vocal folds thicker together. So let's just go back on this. I'm sort of taking a little bit of you might not know me actually, because you might have come just to see Maphra and be like, who the fuck is Zoe Stevie, right? I've been vocal coach for a bajillion years, but what I do inside my online singing school, the Vocal Academy, is I always go back and I explain what we're listening for, and then we go back and listen to it. So I really want you to listen to the difference in the timbre. We're hearing more air, and then we're going to hear that click as she starts to bring the vocal folds more together.
door when it rains? Maybe it's my fault I put you up so high. Darling, I think you can make the devil cry. And I've been waiting for the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care, how can you stand and watch while
Did you hear that? Watch while I'm... And she was in a completely different vocal quality there. So this is what we would call mapping out our song. We are really making sure when we're singing these types of songs, we are fucking making the decisions to go like, there I'm changing, there I'm going to be doing this, there I need to breathe higher, there. Like, you should see my music, see the music of the students inside the academy, because like, honestly, I'm a stickler for this shit. Like, I really want you to write it on your lyrics. I want you to write it on your sheet music, because like, there's no way you're going to remember this. And this is what Maphra's done. She's beautifully mapped this out.
watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close, cut my heart right out of my body, tearing off my skin just to let you in. Isn't it a bit unethical? Got me on my knees, have you any mercy every time you hurt me, baby? Tell me, have I not given you enough? If you ever love me, let me go.
I might look a little bit confused in this section because it's honestly, it sounds so similar to Fozia, and I was thinking to myself, like, that's not a bad thing, like whatsoever. I just really love the way that she's using the falsetto. And she's taking that falsetto lower than you would probably want it to, because that way she's making more of the click between the falsetto and the closed vocal folds, which is when we're going back down to the chest folds. Got me on my knees, please. And so she's taking the falsetto lower to accentuate the because she's using that click as part of the stylistic coloring of the song. I pointed out to you again.
Can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close, cut my heart right out of my body.
My body. And she's taking that she's really taking it to the extremes and taking that chest voice in the lower part of the range with a very low larynx. You could almost say that that's not really like a proper chest voice, because we wouldn't have expected such a low larynx and that much tilt. Okay, come here, my knee, my body. We would almost call that a bit of sob, actually. Super low larynx.
Tearing off my skin just to let you in.
It's on the A4. Got me on my skin, ba-da-da-ba-da. And so that transition, taking the falsetto lower than it wants to go, and I say that because honestly, it's a fucking stylistic decision that you want to make, and this is what Fozia does in a lot of her music, actually. So it's a really beautiful flip. It's beautiful in all voices, but some people don't want it to be there in some of their music. So and what she's not doing is she's not blowing lots of air, okay? She's really holding back on the air. Got me on my skin. Because when we start to blow too much air in falsetto, the notes actually go out of tune.
Isn't it a bit unethical? Got me on my knees. Have you any mercy? Every time you hurt me, baby, tell me how I know.
Again, that's very Fozia. Got me on my knees. I don't know the words, yeah? And so, and there's that cry that we sometimes talk about, very low larynx, thicker vocal folds, but honestly, like shit loads of thyroid tilt. Thyroid tilt is the main difference between speaking and singing, and thyroid tilt is, in my opinion, one of those things that just, like, honestly, it changes a singer's voice, but it also gives you lots of ability to go up and down the range. And I don't actually see this being taught anywhere. I have to say, someone actually commented on a video and was like, Zoe, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, where can I learn to do this? I can't do a video about it just to go like, here, have it, because I need to really like have a look at what's actually going on in your own voice. This isn't like a one size fits all kind of thing. And that's why if you are wanting to improve your upper register, going down to the lower register, make those changes, or even do this where you're really accentuating that break, I want you to come and join me in the Vocal Academy. You can sign up down the description below, because this really does need like a really good look at on a one-to-one basis.
Every time you hurt me, baby, tell me have I not given you enough? If you ever love me, let me go.
That's hard to do that. Tell me, let me go. It's almost like a little bit classical, actually, in the way that you sing this sort of sound. Let me go. And the vibrato comes out. It's very dramatic. We're seeing these high, short breaths, especially when we're in this type of style of music. It adds to not only the drama of the sound, but actually we don't really want to like tank up with air. We're wanting to keep the breath relatively shallow, not to a point where we're going to hyperventilate, but basically so that we can just use it and then we fill up again. If we have too much breath underneath the vocal folds in falsetto, they will want to come together. And probably judging, I've like literally never heard her sing, but someone said she sings like more metal stuff. So I'm assuming then she will probably want to tend towards like more of a scream or a thicker vocal fold. Again, don't know.
Love me, let me go. I don't know what it is, got me wrapped around your cold fingertips. fault, I can't walk away. Maybe I just started feeling a little shame. Oh, I've been waiting on the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you.
Okay, so I mean, obviously, this is not one sing through. You could really hear the difference in the volume there in the middle. And like, I'm not gonna fucking pick it apart and be like, meh, 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 meh. But this is why I really like to look at live performances on the channel, because it's really the only way that you're going to be able to tell like what a singer is genuinely doing. Let's just watch that again.
I don't know what it is, got me wrapped around your cold fingertips. Maybe it's my fault, I can't walk away. Maybe I just started feeling a little shame. Oh, I've been waiting on the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close? Come on, right on my body, tearing off my skin just to let you in. Isn't it a bit unethical? Got me on my knees, have you any mercy every time you hurt me, baby?
Okay, I was trying to find it. It's like quite similar to the first section of the song. So it's very similar in tone. Got me on my knees, ba-ba-da-ba-da. And so it's essentially like copy and paste, yeah? But what I was really noticing is I'm loving the way, and I was actually like, while I'm watching it, just to kind of give you an idea of what was going through my head, I was thinking this woman has got some insane training that's been going on, okay? Firstly, I do not believe that this is the take that she is singing and recording at the same time. I think she pre-recorded it and now she's like singing over top of it for the video. I don't think that there's enough distance going on from the microphone, which you would need to have, like in terms of, we call this like riding the microphone. So we're like going a little bit further away and we're singing a little bit louder or coming closer to the microphone. There's none of that going on, which I would expect in a live performance. And why is that important to note? Because you are the ones that are going, or you're the one that's going to go and practice this stuff. And I see this all the time. Singers just stand in front of the microphone like this, and then they wonder why I stop them in their recordings to go like, stand away from the fucking microphone. You are singing louder. And so that's one of the most important things to learn as a singer. Get away from the microphone when you're singing louder. Microphone technique, sing across the microphone, all these other sorts of things. And so this is not a good representation of like what you would do physically. And I don't think she's showing as much effort as we would expect to see. But if she is showing the same amount of effort, then she's a very, very highly trained singer.
I just started feeling a little shame. Oh, I've been waiting on the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm...
I love the way that she's using her mouth there. So, waiting on a sunset, ba-da-da-ba-da-da. She's using that wider vowel to accentuate those brighter sounds up in the upper falsetto range that she's using there. And then she's going, whoa. She's rounded out the mouth in order to allow that rounding to darken the tone. Rounding the mouth darkens the tone because we're elongating the vocal tract. The vocal tract goes from the end of the lips through to the vocal folds. Whoa! When I make it longer, the sound will automatically get darker.
Been waiting on the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close? Come on, right on my body, tearing up.
Again, sign of trains. And when she's using this very seamless way to change the mouth position there, but I tell you, That's a whole bunch of training that goes into that sort of stuff, okay? Because what we're doing is we're creating what appears to be a very fluid, connected sound, but we are doing things in a sort of unconnected way. And I say unconnected because it's connected, but you have to make adjustments to the sound. When we're higher in the range, we need to bring the lips forward, otherwise we're going to go it didn't fucking work. We've got to change other stuff here in order to make the same sound.
Just to let you in, isn't it a bit unethical? Got me on my knees, have you any mercy every time you hurt me, baby? Tell me have I not given you enough? If you ever love me, let me go. Let me go. I'll let you go. If you let me go, let me. I've been waiting on the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close? Come on, right out my body, tearing off my skin just to let you in. Isn't that a bit unethical? Got me on my knees.
Okay, that was the bit that I was waiting for, actually. Suppose I was going this whole song, like, my singing student said to me, like, Zoe, she makes so many amazing sounds, and she really is. She really is. I suppose I was just expecting the scream to come in, like the constriction to come in a little bit quicker. Yeah. I should not go in with expectations.
Waiting on the sunset, waiting on a sorry, but you're never sorry, are you? No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones?
Regardless of whether this is the actual one that she is singing on and recording, like, I mean, who the fuck cares, to be honest? Like, in the grand scheme of things, I just always think from a perspective of a teacher, the way that she is increasing her body energy throughout the performance is really beautiful. And it's a really great example of not only is she making fantastic adjustments here, but this is another sign of training that the energy in the song has to go up, because the melody repeats itself. So we have to make some sort of change to either the emotional intensity of the song or the way in which we're singing it. She's going to make the change in the singing and the emotional intensity, but the singing is coming out of the emotional intensity. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're seeing more engagement there. I suppose what I would like to see is more of the head going back and up.
Let you go. If you let me go, let me. I've been waiting on the sunset, waiting.
And can you notice that? Because let me go, let me go. So that more of that we've got more of the twang coming in there. We've got a straighter tone with a thicker vocal fold. And so there's way more of the cry. And I feel like this is now, she's building up to that sound to go into the constriction.
No, you don't even care. How can you stand and watch while I'm breaking all my bones, trying to hold you close? Come on, right out my body, tearing off my skin just to let you in. Isn't that a bit unethical? Got me on my knees, have you any mercy every time you hurt me, baby? Tell me if I'm not giving you enough. If you ever love me, let me go.
This is a really perfect example of how Siga, got me on my knees, and like, I can't make that sound, okay? I am in the process of learning how to make that sound, but it's a great example of how there are really choice movements of that, got me on my my knees, got me bang. But if you really listen to it, it's only on a couple of those words that constriction or that more constricted sound is coming into it, and then she's coming back off again. And that is the beauty of like less is more. Most singers who sing like this are actually, for example, I think of the singer from Linkin Park. She's fucking incredible. But she does a really great job of going in and out of the sound, and it's not throughout. That sound is made by an asymmetrical movement of the vocal folds. So we've got that, the wrong one. It sounds so awful. Honestly, I'm learning how to do this, and I know my singing teacher I'm learning to do this with would be like, Zoe, that is not it at all. I can hear her telling me off. So we've got this constriction going on from the false vocal folds, but that is like a tapping, and then she's going back into the actual melody, which makes it a huge difference to just doing it straight screaming all the way through. Because if we were to scream all the way through, we would take the melody out of it.
It's not a bit unethical. Got me on my knees. Have you any mercy every time you hurt me, baby? Tell me if I'm not giving you enough.
And so they're tell me I've enough, and using that constriction on those higher notes makes us then automatically think like, oh wow, it's a super metally constricted song. But actually, that's really beautifully done. She goes, got me on my knees, and the rest of the sound is actually relatively clean. And we say clean because it is effect free.
If you ever want me, let me go.
Oh, that was a beautiful performance, right? I actually have to go. So wanted to say thank you so much for joining me. Maphra is an absolutely beautiful singer. I cannot wait to take a look at more of her live performances. Okay, so we haven't looked at Fozia singing this song, so I'm going to put up some Fozia up here because it's very similar in the vocal technique. And I just wanted to say that using these videos is a really great way for us to learn so much about the voice, but it's really got to be looked at on a one-to-one basis. Like, what is your voice doing? I don't want you to just be a carbon copy of Maphra, or I don't want you to be a carbon copy of Fozia. They're doing their thing, and I want you to be able to do your thing. And that's why it's important to learn these techniques, but how do they look and sound and feel within the context of your own voice? So if you're genuinely looking to improve your singing, you're like, Zoe, I want to learn, like, what is my own voice? Then hit me up down the Vocal Academy. I'd love to see you. I also have another channel all about vocal technique. I know I don't really mention it very much. It's called the Vocal Academy, and you can come over there and follow me so that you can learn more about vocal technique, how to create these sounds, and for warm-up. So you see them right here. I've also got a freebie, actually. I'm the marketing person. Will be like, Zoe, talk about the freebie. Find your chest voice. It's down in the description below. I know you'll find it. Anyway, happy singing. Ka kite anō.